So you were miserable in finance? You thought you wanted to go into finance, or was that peer pressure from
I
your
think it's
other?
just when you're in college, you feel like you have to make this like ultimate decision that's this permanent decision for the rest of your life, and you actually have to define who you are and what you want, which is impossible at any age, but particularly at that age is a joke because when you graduate college, you will change jobs. Most people will change jobs many times and not know what the heck they want to do. And that's actually more normal than sticking to one. For me, my family is from India, and my parents went through a lot to put me through college in this country. I was the first one born here, and to become an artist was a bit of a slap in the face for everything they had gone through. So I took it really seriously that I didn't even know if I had any talent. And on some level in college, I feel like everybody wants to be like an actor or a director or a writer. Like it's kind of one of those things that everybody wants, or, a singer. And so you kind of, I think it's so confusing when you're in college because you don't know if you just like think it's cool or you really could make a living do it. Like it's so, frustrating. But I think I was one of those people that was just like, I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. So I took the first job I got in college. I had no interest or experience in finance. I didn't know what a debit or credit was. I'd never taken a finance course, and my economics background was really bad. Like I think the worst grades I ever got in college were in economics. So, but I went to Duke, so they thought, oh, well, you went to like a kind of school that we just think you can do anything, which is not really true because you can't do something unless you love it, I think.
So you decided, what made you decide to get into entertainment? You did that for a couple of years, and then you said, what? I want to be a director. I want to be a writer.
No, I don't think I ever dreamt of being a director. That was like not even in my universe, but I knew I wanted to be a storyteller. I just knew I wanted to tell stories. I loved stories. And the only thing I could really do as an independent with, no money or anything and no film school was write. So that it's kind of like that's what you relegate to is you can write. No one can take that away from you. So that's what I did. And I just wrote a lot and I did all these crazy things to try to get it was just, it was a psycho time. Like I had decided to stay in finance, but I kept doing things that were counter. It's kind of like when you go through a breakup, you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to be with him anymore, but you constantly call him and you text him and you look at pictures of him on Facebook or, it's that whole like, you're cuckoo. And so I would like one story is David E. Kelley, who everyone these days would know from what is that show? Liars,
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. I think he did that. But back then he did Ally McBeal, which you and I know. And he is one of the most incredible writers. And I snuck into a dinner where he was in New York as a finance person. And I went up to him and I just said, Mr. Kelley, I would love it. Can you just give me 5 minutes? And I forgot to tell him why. Like I never told him why. And I'm dressed up and totally had snuck in. Like the waiters were all figuring out that I was there. It was like a movie scene. And he said, call my office tomorrow. And I did. And I flew to LA to meet with him. And he read my writing. And things like I was doing crazy stuff like that, just crazy. But that's what you do, I think, when you're obsessed.
What exactly did you say when you were on the phone or trying to talk to David Kelley, Aaron Sorkin? What was it about your pitch? I mean, how old were you at the time?
I must have been like 21.
You got to do
Yeah.
this stuff while you're young.
Yeah.
Jump while you're adorable and
Yeah.
people want to talk to you and know you because
Yeah.
I'm sure, I mean, so you just went up to him and you said, I'm an aspiring writer.
I yeah, I have a technique. I still have this technique, and it's not like a that manipulative thing. It's actually who I am. I don't directly ask for things. I feel rude. I wasn't brought up that way. I don't expect things from people. So when I approach them, I tell them who I am, and I just say, here's my background, and I know their background. I do my homework. I know who they are. I genuinely love them. I don't call people just for opportunities. I never ask for a job, and I never actually ask them to read something. I wait for them to offer, and they don't always offer, but I never say, will you read this? or will you meet me? I mean, very rarely would I say something. I'm just not that person. I usually tell them, you know, this is who I am. My family came from India. I use what I have. I say my family came from India. Back then I would say, you know, my parents are trying to arrange my marriage, which they were. And, you know, I'm in this job, but you know, I'm so confused, and I wrote this thing, and I love it, but I don't know if I should go in. And I just genuinely talk to them and get their hearts in my heart, you know, like just try to sync it up. And that's when they usually, if they're, I mean, again, I must have talked to 200, and I have this binder of letters I wrote and to people. I have like 200-ish. I think maybe 10 people offered to help, but these are Aaron Sorkin, David E. Kelly, Anthony Minghella, Warren Littlefield. You know, that's the thing. I think it's an odds game. You wait for the kind person to say, kind, and the person who's in the right place in their life, because I don't always say yes, you know, in my career now. Like I can't say yes to everybody, but I think if you find somebody at that right place and the stars align, they will help you, or they will talk to you, which is the other thing. I would never, like I said, I would never ask for a job, never. And I would never ask them to read something, because that's a really big deal, to ask somebody to read something. Very rarely will people just, you know, have time to read. But I would ask, like, can you tell me a little bit about your job, about your life? Can you tell me how you got to where you are? Those are the things I would do. And a lot of times that's where it would stop. They would give me some advice. They would tell me about their life, and then that's it, you know. But I would take that, and it would nurture me for my path, you know. So I was pretty zen about it. And I still do that all the time. I mean, I still do it now, actually. Just even last week, you know, I called somebody and I said, hey, I'm trying to do this, and would you tell me a little bit about your life and what you're doing? And they tell me, and then that's it. And I don't ask them for a job. And even though I want to work for them, but I don't ask them for a job. It's just not who I am.